The news, 8 small boats have been intercepted in the Channel in the latest surge of crossings.
The UK and French authorities are responding to the latest rise in an improvement in weather conditions has seen criminal people smugglers attempt to launch multiple small boats from French beaches.
Well, joining us now is GB News Home and Security Editor Mark White. Mark, are we witnessing a surge in crossings then?
Yeah, we are. We're moving towards what could be a record day for the year so far. The previous record was set on the 4th of this month when 401 migrants came across in a number of small boats on that particular day because weather conditions had improved. This time of the year, it's always pretty rough out there in the Channel, but you get those days like today when it's just a bit calmer. And when that happens, you get a surge because the days like today are few and far between. So at the moment, it looks like we've had 8 small boats that have come across. The last of those boats is the Dover lifeboat taking about 65 migrants into Dover Harbour. They've just come off the vessel within the last few minutes, and that takes the total for today to over 390. So you can see we're pushing up towards that record day already, and actually this is pushing up now towards 4,000 people who've come across the English Channel so far this year. And we're very early on in the year, and that would be more than where we were at this point last year when the government, of course, said that it was doing so much to reduce numbers, with a 36% reduction in the overall total arriving across the Channel last year compared to the year before.
Well, really concerning for the government then if it's starting to become more than last year, because last year was such a decline. But Mark, obviously more people coming into the country raises the question of asylum seeker hotels. They've been such a bone of contentiousness within this country. What will likely happen here?
Well, a couple of things to report on that. You remember, of course, that Rishi Sunak vowed last August to end the use of hotels for asylum seekers because, of course, it takes these hotels out of use for the local communities. You can't have your wedding there, other important functions, and sometimes these hotels are taken out of use for a year, 2, even 3 years at a time. Well, what the government have just announced is that by next Friday, they will have handed back 100 of the hotels that have been requisitioned for use for asylum seekers. They've put them into other accommodations such as these disused RAF bases. Scampton is not yet online, but RAF Wethersfield in Essex is, and of course the Baby Stockholm barge, along with a former student accommodation in Huddersfield. But on that issue as well, we've had the spending watchdog, the National Audit Office, coming out with a report today saying that the cost of actually these big purpose-built or redeveloped centres to put all the migrants in is costing more than keeping them in the hotels. Now, what the government says in response to that is the way that the National Audit Office have calculated this doesn't tell the whole story. They are including the cost of redeveloping these disused sites into habitable sites again. So that is got an upfront cost, but then in the longer term it will be much cheaper, they say, to house people en masse in big centres like RAF Scampton, Wethersfield, the Baby Stockholm, than having them in hotels at a cost of £8.2 million a day.